Don't you dare have a child with another man, you cheater. You no good woman.
My husband's face turned red as he spat out these insults at me.
We're getting a divorce right now. Both of you, get out of this house.
His loud and aggressive voice made me close my eyes in disgust. There had been some misunderstandings between us and his family, but I never expected him to lash out so vilely. Moreover, his accusations were unfounded. There was no way I would cheat. The reason for this situation was the result of our daughter's blood test. Both my husband and I have blood type O, so our child should also have blood type O, but surprisingly, our daughter's blood type came back as type A. As soon as he heard this, my husband's face turned pale, convinced I had cheated, and he blamed me entirely. I would never cheat, but this is puzzling, and I want to investigate. Let's do a DNA test. When I calmly suggested this, my husband looked down on me with a sneer.
Yo, go ahead. It'll just prove your infidelity anyway. Just go ahead and hang yourself.
My husband, stubborn once he's made up his mind, gleefully offered his own hair for the test. 2 weeks later, the DNA test results arrived. I showed them to my still doubtful husband. His eyes widened slowly, and his brows, previously furrowed in anger, now drooped with confusion and worry.
This can't be. What's going on?
Looking him straight in the eye, I said calmly, I don't know, but you wanted a divorce, so let's proceed with that. And we should tell your parents about this. They'll understand the truth. My name is Michelle. I'm 28 years old. I work for a company that deals in household goods in the HR department. I met my husband, Kevin, at a gathering through mutual friends. He works in a family-owned tech business with his parents. I decided to marry him because his easygoing nature was a soothing contrast to my structured corporate life. We got along well, but dealing with my in-laws was a constant source of stress. Because my in-laws think that a woman should join her husband's family after marriage, though I want to continue my job even after marrying, our views clash, leading to me receiving snide remarks every time we meet.
Are you still working? It's disgraceful for a woman to be gallivanting about. Quit your job and help out at home.
My mill often called me just to say such things. Dodging her was one thing, but it was quite stressful to spend my precious days off with her. I love my job, and recently I've been involved in hiring new talent. I look forward to building my career. Additionally, the relationships at my company are good, and although there are challenges at work, I never have unpleasant experiences. It's not just about the money. I want to continue working.
You should speak up, too.
When my mill turned her attention to my husband, he seemed evasive, but he respected my wishes.
If she wants to keep her current job, that's fine, isn't it? Dad's still healthy, and I'm not going to take over right away. Let us have our own family life the way we want it.
Hearing this, my mill narrowed her eyes in irritation and clicked her tongue.
You've become quite the back-talker, haven't you? Living together is obviously the best choice. Honestly, I wonder what your wife has been telling you.
To such a mother, my husband responded with a sigh of exasperation.
Seriously, even if she helps out, it's not like our sales are going to skyrocket overnight. Having her work would increase our income, and that would be more helpful.
While listening to this, It would be a lie to say that thoughts like, "Is it all about the money?" or "I wish for more affectionate words" didn't cross my mind. But I appreciate the fact that he was protecting the lifestyle I desire. I decided to turn a blind eye to the emotional aspect and be thankful to my husband. However, if such exchanges continue for months, half a year, and then a year, I can't stay the same. My mill, without giving up, keeps insisting on living together and retiring. It seems she really has a strong attachment to this idea and is not willing to compromise at all. Frustration must have boiled over because she exclaimed, "You're crazy for being so obsessed with going out to work. What are you after? A man? Yes, that must be it. You're neglecting your husband for a man at work, aren't you? How disgusting. That's just filthy," she ranted, letting her imagination run wild and working herself into a hysterical state. Calming her down was tough, and it took effort to placate her with tea and snacks. Of course, my husband never believed her fantasies. But he seemed to grow wary of Mimel's constant nagging and tantrums, and he no longer stood up for me as he used to.
Look, if it's going to upset Mom this much, shouldn't we just give in? You must be stressed out with her raging all the time, Michelle. Eventually, I'll take over the business anyway, and it might be quicker to just quit your job and live with my parents.
Kevin murmured this while looking down at the dining table. After finishing, he held his head in his hands and sighed deeply. I can understand how he feels caught in the middle and tormented between his mother and me. However, I was shocked to lose the support of someone who used to stand by me. Why? Why would you say that too? I stopped washing dishes and appealed to him in a tearful voice.
Why, you ask? You see how my mother is. I'm tired of being constantly attacked by her just for continuing our current life. And you must be tired of it too, right? We've been dealing with the same thing for over a year now. Do you still want to keep working despite that?
Indeed, I had reached my limit with the escalating sarcasm and verbal abuse from my mill. But my job is an important part of my life. I really don't want to let it go. And considering my mill's nature, living together could just start a new phase of harassment. Yes, but you're her son, right? I want you to convince her. You said it was beneficial for us to have my income. Don't just cave into your mother. There's no guarantee that living together will solve everything. Tears were welling up in my eyes, but at the same time, I was clenching and trembling my fist. As well as feeling sad about my husband's betrayal, anger was bubbling up inside me. Then, Kevin, clearly irritated, slammed the newspaper on the table and stood up abruptly.
Enough already. That's old news. Sticking to the same opinion won't solve anything. You're stubborn and selfish.
Wait, you say what suits you and flip-flop when it doesn't. That's dishonest. I retorted strongly as he tried to leave. Our day ended with such argumentative exchanges. I was exhausted and went to bed early, leaving the chores half done. Why had things come to this? The issue with my mill was bad enough, but what was really painful was how my husband's attitude has changed. If he drifted away, I would be completely alone and unsupported. Feeling utterly alone with no one to support me, I had to stand firm in my beliefs, which was an incredibly daunting experience. Our relationship had been strained since that fight, but a few weeks later, I found out I was pregnant. After feeling unwell for days and being urged by colleagues to see a doctor, I discovered I was 2 months pregnant. Kevin was happy about the news. He then became more attentive to my health.
If it's a boy, he could be my heir. If it's a girl, I hope she's as cute as you. Michelle, you've been managing both work and household chores, but this is an important time, and you shouldn't overdo it.
Moved by his kind words, I was touched for a moment. But just when I thought everything was going well, my husband bluntly said the very thing I didn't want to hear.
Yeah, how about you resign now? Work might be too much during pregnancy, and this is a good chance. If we live with my parents, my mom will take care of everything so you can relax.
I felt my head heat up with anger at his words. Had he forgotten all our discussions and arguments? How could he say such a thing with a smile? Don't be absurd. This is not a good opportunity. It's like you're using the baby to force me into compliance. We didn't have a child for that reason, did we? I'm not quitting my job. As I ranted, Kevin looked troubled.
Calm down. Why are you so angry? It's common for women to quit after getting pregnant.
It's common, but my company has maternity and parental leave policies. I plan to take maternity leave, then return to work. If I quit now, we'll lose the income during the leave. Kevin listened to my persuasion absently at first, but he suddenly became attentive towards the end. It seemed like the financial aspect caught his interest.
Oh, so maybe quitting after the parental leave could work. Let's just take the leave for now and decide later.
He said that in a vague and non-committal tone, then he looked away from me. Looking at my husband turning on the TV with an indifferent face, I couldn't help but sigh. I hadn't realized before we married, but I never thought he could be so opportunistic and materialistic. I must be stronger going forward. A few months later, I went back to my parents' house for childbirth. I wanted to avoid any interaction with my in-laws and Mill around the time of the birth. My parents were very worried when I told them about my Mill and husband, and they were even angrier at my husband than I was.
You can't trust someone whose words change so frequently. You absolutely shouldn't stay with him. If this continues, it might be worth considering a divorce.
My mother must have been really upset about my husband, for she spoke in a low voice while forcefully handling the knife she was using to cook. Even I, who had actually had a big argument with him, felt overwhelmed by her intensity. Thank you, but he's not a bad person as long as his mom and family don't interfere. Life will change once the baby is born, so I want to wait and see how things go. I said this, and my mother sighed worriedly.
You're patient, which is good, but you tend to bottle things up. If it gets too much, you must tell us immediately, okay?
Yes, I understand. I felt my mother's strong love as I said this, and months later, I gave birth to a healthy baby girl. We named our daughter Miriam. I continued to live at my parents' home, preferring it instead of being near my in-laws. And after a year, when I found a daycare, I returned home and resumed working. During my stay at my parents' home, my husband visited occasionally to see our daughter, but we never discussed living together with his parents or resigning from work again. Rather, both of us avoided the topic. My mother never showed her anger in front of me but pressed him indirectly. Now that the family is growing with the birth of the child, please support Michelle and the child properly. While emphasizing please take care of them, she exerted pressure indirectly. Upon returning to the house where I lived with my husband, I found that neither he nor my Mill had changed, and Mill would barge into our home to see her grandchild and berate me, saying, "Enough is enough. How can a woman who has given birth not live with her husband's family and still keep working? There's a limit to being stubborn." As for my husband, he would just make non-committal remarks like, "Well, parenting has its ups and downs. It will all work out eventually," brushing everything off with casual comments. And just like that, 2 years flew by. My daughter's growth was remarkable. She could then walk around freely and has even started to talk a bit. I continued working part-time while sending my child to daycare, without living with my in-laws. My husband seemed too accustomed to both his mother's tirades and my arguments, merely watching TV impassively during our disputes. I no longer had any expectations of him. I hoped that someday, with my own strength, I would be able to convince them, and I was waiting for the right moment to do so. One day, my daughter Miriam fell ill. She developed red rashes all over her body and cried uncomfortably, whether in pain or itchiness. Realizing the seriousness, I took emergency leave from work and rushed her to the hospital. They suggested a blood test just to be cautious, so I requested the necessary tests. When asked about her blood type, I said we didn't know, so they included it in the tests. I thought it was unnecessary, but the doctor recommended it as a precaution, so I reluctantly agreed. The diagnosis revealed that the rash was atopic dermatitis, and specific medication was prescribed. It was good to understand the inflammation and how to treat it, but the issue was the blood type revealed by the test. My husband and I are both type O, and logically our child should also be type O. I was reluctant about the blood type test because I thought it was unnecessary, given what we already knew. Yet, what could this result mean? Feeling an indescribable chill, I returned home. I then calmly called my husband to discuss our daughter's atopic dermatitis and showed him the blood type test results. Isn't it strange that we're both type O, but Miriam is type A? I asked him while looking down. He became furious, raised his voice and said,
"This means divorce. You must have cheated at work."
Shocked by his aggressive manner, I flinched. Wait, this is just a report. There might be a mistake in the test results.
No way. Having a child with another man, how? My mother said your obsession with work was because of another man, and she was right. Pretending to be a career woman while messing around with men, what a player.
My husband, with his face turning bright red and spitting, hurled insults at me. Overwhelmed by the loudness and violence of his voice, I felt a deep revulsion and instinctively closed my eyes. The harshness of his words and his baseless accusations filled me with disgust and shock. Stop talking like that. I would never cheat. You know I've been going back and forth between work and home every day. Don't you trust your own wife?
There's no trust or crap to talk about. The test results here say it all.
Kevin yelled, aggressively slapping the paper with the test results. It seemed like we were completely failing to communicate. I had completely misjudged my partner. That was a painful realization to me.
I won't raise someone else's child. I don't even want to see the face of a child born by such a worthless woman. Get out of this house, both of you, right now. And since you cheated, expect me to sue for alimony.
His shouting filled the house, waking Miriam in the next room, who started crying. As her rash had not yet subsided, I could only imagine how uncomfortable she must be feeling at that time. While I was distressed thinking about my daughter, my husband was forcefully trying to evict us from the house, piling our belongings on us right then and there. In a panic, I grabbed my valuables and the medicine prescribed by the hospital. Then, at the doorway, I confronted my husband one last time. Please listen to me. This is too strange not to investigate. If it bothers you that much, let's do a DNA test. Hearing this, my husband looked down on me arrogantly.
Fine, do it. It'll just prove your infidelity. Go ahead and hang yourself.
He stubbornly insisted, eagerly offering his hair for the test. We were abruptly forced out of the house, after which we headed to my parents' home in a rush. It was a 2-hour journey by express train, and by the time we arrived, I was exhausted. My mother was shocked to see us and furious upon hearing the story.
This is outrageous. To unilaterally decide and kick you out. Something's wrong. The blood test is indeed strange, but as a couple, you should work together to find the cause. Send the husband back to his parents.
My mother, having said that, gently applied ointment to her daughter, who was still itching, and soothingly said, "It must have hurt, and you were scared, weren't you? Poor Miriam, you haven't done anything wrong." I apologized to my company and took leave, focusing on caring for my daughter while staying with my parents. I also sent my husband's hair for DNA testing and waited for the results. Given that I hadn't cheated, the blood type issue was genuinely puzzling. Though I hated to think of it, even if my husband had been unfaithful, any child should have been from his mistress, which should not lead to this situation. After a little over 2 weeks, the DNA test results came. Together with my mother, I slowly opened the envelope. The document contained surprising information. Of course, Miriam was undoubtedly the child of my husband and me. It also confirmed my blood type as O. However, my husband's blood type was revealed to be type A. I went back to the house I had been expelled from to share this fact. Anticipating trouble, I decided to leave my daughter with my mother.
What are you doing here, you bitch?
My husband, who was at home, greeted me coldly, but I remained calm and showed him the test results. His eyes widened slowly as he looked at the paper, his anger shifting to confusion and anxiety.
That can't be. How is this possible?
He had always believed he was type O. Of course, there was no reason to lie about such a thing, and my husband himself must have believed that he was indeed what he had always thought he was. Looking directly at my trembling husband, I spoke in an even tone. "We should discuss this with your parents. Surely the truth will come out." To my surprise, my husband nodded in agreement. He had previously mentioned both his parents were type O. There might be a lie in there. The tension and fear of uncovering a secret about his birth seemed to shrink him. He appeared entirely different from the man who had verbally abused me. Heading to his parents' house, it seemed he had already discussed our daughter's blood type and my alleged infidelity, judging by the icy stares from his mother.
Why are you with that loose woman?
She showed her disgust openly. My husband presented the DNA test results to her with trembling hands.
It's not the time for such talk. Look at this. You and Dad both said I was type O. Why does it show type A?
She slowly took the paper and stared at it intently, her face strained. Then, we were led to a back room and seated on a sofa. Facing us, she sat upright, her demeanor formal and silent. She seemed to have something to say but hesitated, biting her lip and looking down.
Why are you silent, Mom? Is there a reason? You're type O, Dad's type O, so naturally, I should be type O too, right?
My husband, trying to appear strong, was visibly shaken, his hands trembling under the table.
Well, but
My Mill's face quickly lost its vitality, turning as white as a doll's. She frowned painfully, her lips turning purple and trembling.
Come on, why won't you say it? Tell me the truth.
Despite noticing his mother's condition, my husband persisted in his questioning. Then there were a few seconds of silence. Then my Mill let out a quiet sigh and slowly started to speak.
I've kept silent until now. The truth is, Kevin, you are not the child of your father and me.
Understandably, my husband was greatly shaken by this sudden revelation.
What? No way. What do you mean?
Naturally, Kevin was greatly flustered by sudden confession.
When I was about to marry your father, I had a careless affair with another man. You are the child from that time.
My husband was then 30. It must be a tremendous shock to see the belief in one's family crumble after all these years. He was visibly shaking from head to shoulders.
Does Dad know about this?
When my husband asked, his mother made a pained expression. And just from that look, the answer became clear.
You've hidden this from me and Dad all along.
My husband, mouth agape and on the verge of tears, continued to stare at his mother. She shed a single tear.
Kevin, it's true that we raised you dearly as our own child.
She had an affair shortly after her marriage and became pregnant with that man's child, continuing her life while deceiving her family that the child was her husband's. Yet, she maintained her love for her son throughout.
Even if you say that, I can't accept it. So, was your affair partner type A? Why hide such an important thing?
My husband, eyes red from holding back tears, stood up to confront her.
Probably.
She murmured, then fell silent, looking down. What a situation. The long-hidden secret of my Mill came to light because of my daughter's blood type. Was it fate or divine retribution? At least Miriam is undoubtedly mine and my husband's child, leaving me with no further role. I was ready to watch the unfolding scene.
Can this really happen? True, I never verified my blood type through testing. I've always been healthy since childhood, so I never needed to. I had no choice but to believe Mom when she said I was type O.
I truly am sorry.
At that moment, my Mill responded meekly. Quietly, the door to the room opened.
I've heard everything.
There stood my Phil, his expression beyond anger, chillingly impassive. He also had recommended letting me into the house and would make snide remarks whenever we met, but I didn't interact with him much because my Mill's extremism was too dominant. His face, usually concerned about his business's future, now expressed a feeling of betrayal and disappointment towards my Mill's concealed infidelity.
Hey, is it true that Kevin isn't our child?
My Phil asked in a low voice.
Were you listening?
My Mill began to panic, realizing her private conversation had been overheard. While she fumbled for excuses, my Phil found the test results and scrutinized them.
You had an affair with another manual, and you've been deceiving me all these years.
My FIL's mask of forced calmness quickly fell away. His face turned bright red as he shouted at my Mill with a demonic expression.
I didn't mean to deceive you. Kevin is our beloved son. Haven't we cherished raising him?
Yes, indeed. Deceived by you. I've been raising another man's child for 30 years.
With a loud bang, my Phil slammed the test results onto the table. At his fierce demeanor, both my husband and I involuntarily flinched. Unable to withstand his fury, my Mill stood up to retort.
What now? It's useless to get angry about it. I haven't been in contact with that man anymore, and it was 30 years ago. It should be statute barred by now, right?
No statute of limitations. I never thought you could be such an unfaithful woman. The evidence of your affair is still standing right here.
My Phil shouted this while pointing at my husband. Caught in the shocking quarrel between his parents, my husband was speechless.
Given this revelation, I will end our marriage. We're getting a divorce. And you, Kevin, if you're not my son, don't ever cross our threshold again.
Wait, this can't be real.
Amid the ongoing quarrel between my in-laws, my husband was thrown out of the house. Feeling excluded, I also left and ended up discussing divorce with my husband at a nearby diner.
I understand you didn't cheat. It was all a misunderstanding. Miriam is definitely our child, so I take back the divorce. We should just go back and live together again.
Indeed, typical of my opportunistic husband. It was surprising that he came up with such a convenient proposal at this point. With a sense of disillusionment, I responded in a measured tone. Of course not. The misunderstanding is cleared, but words once said can't be unsaid. The things you said were too harsh, not only towards me, but calling Miriam a child of a worthless woman is unforgivable. I can't stay married to someone who can say such things easily. I'll proceed with the divorce.
Wait, don't say that.
He tried to stop me, but I gave him a cold smile. Isn't it for the best? You'll be rid of a wife who won't live with your parents or quit her job and doesn't listen to your family. You used to support me, but gradually you just followed your mother's words. I refuse to stay with an unsupportive husband. Let's handle the rest through a lawyer. Goodbye. I quickly stood up, leaving my bewildered husband alone in the bustling diner filled with happy families. Then, I boarded the train to pick up my daughter waiting at my parents' home. He returned to his family home only to be denied entry, as his father had said, and was fired from the family business. Naturally, I received a message stating that the discussion about him being the heir was now void. I ignored the message and immediately started looking for a law firm to proceed with the claim for compensation. Because my husband's actions were considered emotional harassment, I was able to claim $20,000 in compensation. After receiving the certified mail, my husband complained that he had no job and couldn't pay, but I firmly refused to reduce the amount. He had been complacent about eventually taking over the family business and becoming the president without saving any money. I knew well that he had squandered all his earnings, apart from living expenses, on alcohol and gambling. Moreover, we could no longer afford the apartment we lived in. Meanwhile, my ex-Mill, caught for her affair and facing a late-life divorce, managed to contact her past lover and sought refuge with him. My ex-husband got in touch with his mother, and they met up to go together to the home of the man who was his biological father, resulting from the affair. The man, who was the affair partner 30 years ago, was shocked and greatly bewildered when the woman from back then and the unexpected son suddenly showed up at his doorstep. He claimed not to remember such things from so long ago. He denied remembering the past incident, trying to evade the situation. My ex-Mill, catching him, insisted on a DNA test, claiming she would bear the cost. This scene unfolded at his doorstep, discovered by his current wife, leading to a confrontation among the three. The affair from 30 years ago was now exposed, and the biological father's wife, upon learning of his past infidelity, initiated a divorce, causing a commotion in front of my ex-Mill and my ex-husband. Following the argument between my ex-husband and me, there was a fight between my ex-husband's parents, and finally a confrontation between the affair partner of my ex-husband's mother and his wife. One chaotic scene led to another, resulting in a tumultuous situation everywhere. While this was happening, I rented a new apartment close to my parents' home and started living there with my daughter. I never wanted to return to the room I shared with my husband, nor could I rely on my parents' house indefinitely. My mother later encouraged me, saying, "Your husband is strange, and so is his family. It's good that you divorced. From now on, let's take good care of Miriam together." I felt relieved with her occasional assistance. After apologizing and explaining the situation to my company, I requested a transfer to a branch closer to my new home, which was granted due to my good work record. My work performance had been well regarded, so although it was regrettable to leave the main office, my transfer request was accepted, and I was able to return to work successfully. Just as I was starting my new life, my mother arrived at my house with an angry expression.
Can you hear me out?
It seemed she wasn't angry with me, so I let her in to listen.
Your ex-husband showed up at our house of all places. Can you believe it?
As my mother sipped the tea I made, her brows furrowed in irritation. I felt a sense of disgust at his shamelessness and sorry for the trouble caused to my parents' home.
He said he's unemployed and can't pay child support, so he came begging to you for help. When I told him you've already started a new life, he turned pale and trembled, shamelessly asking us for money too. He was so disgraceful that I quickly threw him out.
After venting, my mother seemed relieved and drank her tea quickly. "I'm sorry for causing trouble even to you, Mom." When I apologized, she gave me a generous smile.
It's okay. It's all over now. I warned him that I'd call the police if he came again, so he won't bother us anymore. You should forget about it quickly and focus on doing your best for yourself and Miriam.
My mother said this and gently tapped my shoulder. Encouraged by her warmth, tears welled up in my eyes. By the way, my mother is genuinely typo. Afterward, I received messages and voicemails from my ex-husband almost daily. It seems that my ex-husband, his mother, and her affair partner, all ousted from their respective homes, ended up living together out of necessity. When I saw the messages, I couldn't help but laugh at the bizarre combination. However, it was clear that those who had caused such turmoil couldn't possibly live together harmoniously. Indeed, it seemed none of them were getting along. He turned to me for help, brazenly seeking assistance in his audacity. I ignored everything and blocked his accounts and phone numbers. Yet, my ex-husband's refusal to accept reality persisted. Then, he even went so far as to show up at my current workplace. Fortunately, he never got the chance to confront me. Haunted by the repeated harassment, I had discussed his behavior with my company, which had taken preemptive measures. The moment the entrance surveillance cameras captured his presence, an alarm sounded throughout the office. I watched his actions through the office monitors. He was startled by the alarm and ran away from the approaching security guards. Witnessing my ex-husband's obsession, my coworkers unanimously sympathized with me and promised to prevent him from coming near in the future. Following that incident, another person visited my company. Surprisingly, it was my ex-Mill, with whom I should have had no connection. Unfortunately, she arrived during my lunch break when I was out of the office and confronted me in the hallway.
Finally found you. You need to take responsibility for once.
Her voice echoed in the office corridor. A passerby employee looked on with concern as someone from outside the company angrily confronted me, distorting her face in rage. "What do you mean, suddenly? Why have you come to my workplace?" As I stood bewildered, she, now considerably more haggard and pale than before, began to shriek at me in a shrill voice.
Of course, it's your responsibility. If only you hadn't looked into things like blood types. If you hadn't done that DNA test, none of this would have happened. Your unnecessary actions have ruined everything I've built up. Now it's all a complete mess.
Despite her own infidelity and decades of silence, she tried to shift the blame onto me. As she lunged at me, security detained her. The situation quickly escalated to the point where the police were called. Strangely, my ex-husband was also present, seemingly watching from the shadows, and it appears they were both taken in for questioning together. I desperately wanted them to stop. I had already begun a new life and was completely severed from my ex-husband through divorce. "I'm begging you, just let me live a peaceful life," I thought to myself as I headed home the next day. Just like the previous day, there was someone lurking in the hallway at the office. This time, it was my ex-Phil who showed up. I never told him where I work, so I wondered where he got the information. Feeling uneasy, I met his gaze and he said, "Well, I've made some noise and caused a lot of trouble in the past. After divorcing my wife and kicking out my son, I realized we're short-staffed at the company. Just because we're divorced, you're still part of the family, right? So, how about helping out at our place as an employee?" he said with a sly grin, spouting some nonsensical theory. "Please don't be ridiculous. I am your estranged son's ex-wife. We have no connection now. If you're headhunting, please look elsewhere." When I responded with at most calm, my ex-Phil's smirk quickly turned into a sharp glare, and he aggressively closed in on me.
What? You're talking back now. When you were married to my son, you refused to quit your job or live with us, always having your own way. And now, even when I'm offering to hire you from scratch, after cutting ties with my son and wife, you still refuse. Geez, modern women are also presumptuous and annoying.
His unreasonable behavior was obviously out of place, and just like when my ex-mill showed up, security and the police arrived soon after and took him away. Thus, the days of the three related individuals intruding on my workplace came to an end, and I was finally able to be free, with my colleagues expressing their concern for me. I can now focus on my work peacefully. Regarding my ex-husband's family, it seems my ex-Phil tried to use the still family even after divorce theory on my ex-husband and ex-Mill to salvage the understaffed business. Both my ex-husband and ex-Mill, struggling with housing and finances, reluctantly agreed to help if it meant having a place to live and work. But a family so riddled with lies and betrayal couldn't possibly function well together. As expected, both their family life and business did not go well, with loud arguments echoing throughout the neighborhood day and night, leading to their ostracism by the community. Despite this, I am receiving the alimony payments consistently. Because I have a lawyer involved, they send reminders whenever the payments stop. Likely, making the alimony payments is straining their finances to the point where they are living begrudgingly in debt. To repay the debt, their financial situation worsens and they are engulfed in a vicious cycle. My ex-husband seems to be exploited for cheap labor at his father's company. On the other hand, my life is looking up. With the expertise I developed at the headquarters, I am valued at my new workplace. I am praised for my fast and accurate work and have already gained the trust of my colleagues. Talks of promotions and greater responsibilities have already begun, and I am expected to excel even more than before. The environment is peaceful and cheerful, making me want to work here for a long time. My parenting is also going well. With Miriam in daycare during the day and occasional help from my mother, she is growing up fast. Regular visits to the doctor have gradually improved her eczema, providing some peace of mind. Her eager sharing of daily events at daycare is irresistibly adorable. Her third birthday is quickly approaching, and my mother and I are discussing how to celebrate it. Even though she is still young and may not remember, I want to give her a lovely and adorable celebration. Recently, my mother has been diligently knitting a handmade sweater for her.
I'll knit the cutest sweater in the world, so look forward to it.
My mother said, beaming with enthusiasm in front of me. I've started baking, making daily treats while preparing to make my daughter's birthday cake with my own hands. Strawberry cake is nice, but apple pie sounds good too. What do you think, Miriam? When I asked Miriam, she adorably responded, apple pie. Her cuteness made me smile involuntarily. There might be hardships in the long journey of life ahead, but I want to face them with a smile, trusting the people around me, carefully handling both my job and parenting. With Miriam by my side, everything feels manageable.
I got pregnant with the boss's baby. Guess I'll be taking the boss's wife's spot now.
In that moment, something inside me broke. She had been ridiculing me, the boss's wife, boasting about her youth, and constantly trying to outdo me. Now, she's even taken my job as the company's executive assistant and is attempting to take my husband as well. In that case, I won't hold back anymore. I'll see them plummet to the depths of hell. I decided to pretend to celebrate my husband and Michelle's union. I agreed the divorce with Jack. Of course, I received a generous settlement. They later had a lavish wedding in Hawaii. The situation shifted a week later. I got a call from Michelle.
Hey, Jack hasn't come home. You're his ex, so you must know where he is, right?
Michelle's voice was frantic. As I had predicted, I smirked. Oh, I didn't mention it, but he is.
What?
I revealed my husband's shocking secret side. My name is Karen Adams. I'm a 58-year-old working housewife. At my husband Jack's company, I work as an executive assistant. At 6 a.m., I get up earlier than my husband and make breakfast. Then I go to the office by myself to clean and tidy up the executive office. It's a daily habit. I do it so Jack can enjoy his work. At 8 a.m., Jack comes to the executive office.
Oh, thanks, Karen. You cleaned again today.
I walk up to Jack and retie his tie. It's fine, dear. You want to work in a clean room, don't you?
Yeah, you're right.
Jack and I had an arranged marriage. We haven't had children, but we've lived together, compromising and cooperating. This year marks our 30th wedding anniversary. The company Jack took over from his Phil is stable, and I've had no complaints about our life. By the way, about that new venture you proposed, the chairman agreed to fund it. The payment was confirmed just now.
That's great. Kevin seems to like you. You negotiating helped a lot.
The company is led by Jack as the president and his older brother as the chairman. His brother's name is Kevin. Jack affectionately calls him Kevy. Speaking of which, didn't the chairman fund another project you proposed before? Aren't you going to proceed with that? When I lightly asked, Jack seemed a bit irritated.
That's okay. I'll handle it.
I see.
You have the whole day free today, right?
Yes, because you mentioned it earlier. Jack smiled with satisfaction.
Great, then. I have someone I want you to meet. I'll bring them here, so wait for me.
Okay. The person he wants to introduce. I felt a sense of unease at the sound of those words. Soon, I could hear laughter coming from the hallway. It was Jack's voice and another, belonging to a young woman. As I was wondering about their seemingly close relationship, the door to the executive office opened.
Sorry to keep you waiting, Karen.
Jack said with a pleased expression. However, I was too stunned to respond to Jack, fixated on the woman standing next to him. She is a very young woman. Her hair was a shade of blonde, almost golden, wearing a miniskirt that revealed her thighs and a camisole with a plunging neckline, as if she was dressed for a night out. Yet, she wore it so well that I found myself marveling. So this is youth.
This is Michelle Smith. She's going to start working here today.
Pleased to meet you.
I was dumbfounded. Is he kidding me? My husband introduced me to the younger woman. Just this event alone is bad for my heart, and to add, we're not even hiring new graduates. Excuse me, I hesitate to ask you, but how old are you, Michelle?
She is 23 years old. I met her at a bar with some friends, and she came up to talk. We hit it off, and her youthful energy was refreshing. Don't you think her presence will boost our team's motivation, do you?
No, yes. He might be serious. Faced with Jack's glowing expression, I was at a loss for words.
So, Karen, could you teach Michelle the ropes?
Wait, she's going to work as a general employee, right? Then, perhaps someone else.
Oh, I forgot to mention, we're moving to a 2-person secretary team. So, I'd like you to teach her about being a secretary.
A 2-person team, is that necessary?
Come on, you're getting on in years. It might be good for you to pass some work on to the younger generation.
Jack's light-hearted laughter stabbed at my heart. Getting on in years, that way of putting it.
All right then, I'll leave it to you. I've got some errands to run outside. Take good care of her, will you?
With that, Jack left the executive office, leaving me and Michelle behind. I took a deep breath to calm myself. Once Jack makes up his mind, he charges ahead. Then, inevitably, he fails and ends up regretting it alone. This had happened often in our marriage. It was pointless to say anything now. For now, I'll just do as he says. It's bound to fail anyway.
Hey, Mrs. Karen.
Michelle tapped my shoulder. Yes.
How old are you, Mrs. Karen?
Feeling it would be wrong not to answer after asking her age, I told her the truth. I'll be 58 this year. However, my honest admission seemed not to reach Michelle.
What? You're the same age as my grandma. You might drop dead any moment. And yet you're still working. That's kinda sad.
I forced a smile. I like my job. It's not sad at all.
Oh, I see. It's the boss who's to be pitied, right? Whether he's at home or at work, he's stuck with the old lady all the time. Really, poor thing.
Her words kept coming one after another, making my face tense up. Excuse me, what exactly are you trying to say?
What? Don't you get it? I guess it's true what they say about getting slower with age.
Michelle sighed heavily and stated bluntly.
It means I, being young and beautiful, have a higher status than an old lady like you. You get that, right, Mrs. Old Lady?
Her smiling face as she said this sent shivers down my spine. I couldn't stay silent any longer. You really need to learn some common sense.
Oh, did I make you mad? Or are you going through menopause or something?
What did you say?
See, you get angry so quickly. If you get this upset over such things, how can you keep working? Plus, menopause makes you sweat a lot and get out of breath, right? LOL, it's pathetic to try so hard. Maybe it's time you retired.
As I stood there dumbfounded, Michelle suddenly laughed and whispered in my ear.
Maybe it's time to retire as the president's wife, too.
I shuddered. This person intended to take Jack away from me. I raised my voice without thinking. That's enough. I can't teach someone with your motives any work. Leave the company now. I expected an argument, but Michelle just stared at me, and tears streaming down her face.
I'm sorry.
What?
I didn't mean it. I just wanted to get along with you, and joked, but this is too much, too cruel.
Michelle collapsed to the floor, sobbing. She looked like a tragic heroine.
I'll leave this company. Thank you for everything up to now.
Michelle rushed out of the room. What on earth is happening? I was so shocked by the sudden turn of events that I was left speechless for a while until Michelle returned, red-faced, with Jack.
What the hell are you doing?
Jack's sudden shout made me tremble. What's going on, dear?
I heard from Michelle. You yelled at her.
But she was saying such terrible things.
Don't lie. I've been listening to her conversation.
What? To my astonishment, Michelle had recorded our argument on her smartphone. The recording began with me scolding Michelle, giving the impression that I had suddenly started berating her for no reason, making her cry. So that's why she apologized so readily, even with sobs. I bit my lip in frustration. Don't you believe me?
Believe. Michelle came to me crying about what you did. There's even a recording. It's clear whose words have more credibility. A secretary who bullies employees is fired as of today.
What? I was in disbelief. I had supported Jack at home and in the company all this time. And now, he was choosing Michelle, who had just joined, over me. Wait, then who will do the secretary's job?
It's obviously going to be Michelle.
That's impossible. And what about Macau, you know? I caught myself, realizing what I had just said. I tried to phrase it in a way that only Jack and I would understand. You know, about your hobby.
I can handle that myself. I prefer the pure and cute Michelle over you, who lies to me, the president. Besides, isn't a young and beautiful girl like her more suitable for me than you, who are older?
Jack squinted his eyes happily and looked at Michelle next to him. Michelle looked up at Jack with adoring eyes and flashed a brilliant smile. Then, when she turned her gaze to me, she stuck out her tongue slightly, taunting me. I protested repeatedly to Jack, but he refused to listen. The job of a secretary is not easy. Despite my arguments that it would be too difficult for Michelle, he only returned with overly optimistic responses, saying I was exaggerating or that we wouldn't know until we try. He must fancy himself a knight protecting his princess. I was speechless at his irrational excitement, not befitting someone who runs a company. Eventually, Jack threw away my personal items from my workspace. In their place, he arranged a brand new desk and cute, youthful stationery for Michelle. It's all in vain. Realizing this, I thought, I don't want to waste any more effort, and left the company. However, Jack did not return home that night, and he didn't respond to my messages either. I thought it was out of spite towards me, but as a week, a month, 3 months passed, I began to feel anxious. Then, one day, I was summoned to the company by Jack and headed to the president's office. Maybe he finally realized how difficult the secretary's job is. Is he thinking of firing Michelle and calling me back? With a glimmer of hope, I knocked on the president's office door.
Come in.
As I opened the door, I was greeted by an unbelievable sight. Jack, smiling happily, was holding hands with Michelle. They both looked at me and laughed gleefully.
It's been a while, Karen. We have some big news today.
What is it?
Actually,
Then, Michelle put her hand over Jack's mouth.
Let me say it, okay? I want to thank your wife too.
Right.
Jack nodded deeply, and Michelle said to me with a beaming smile.
We're getting married. Karen, you cared for my husband for a long time till now.
What? As I stood there, stunned, Jack chuckled awkwardly.
Yeah, I thought there's no point in hiding it. I'm thinking of starting a second life. You're old now. It's better for you to live quietly alone.
What is that supposed to mean? How dare you? I felt as if all the blood had drained from my body.
Wait, Karen, the story isn't over yet. Here is a gift for you. I even made a copy at a library just for you.
Michelle handed me several sheets of paper. They were black and white printed photos. Seeing them, I almost felt sick. This ultrasound picture, does it mean? Michelle nodded slowly and gently stroked her belly. As she came closer, she whispered in my ear.
I got pregnant with the president's baby. The spot as the president's wife is mine now.
At that moment, something inside me snapped. She had been ridiculing me, boasting about her youth, and constantly trying to one-up me. Now, she's taken my job as the company's executive assistant and is attempting to take my husband as well. Well, no more holding back. I'll see them plummet to the depths of hell. I decided to pretend to bless Jack and Michelle's union. I agreed the divorce with Jack. Of course, I received a hefty settlement. After that, they had a grand wedding in Hawaii. The situation changed a week later. I received a call from Michelle.
Hey, Jack hasn't come home. You're his ex-wife. You must know where he is, right?
Michelle's panicked voice. As expected, I smirked. Oh, I didn't say, but he has.
What?
I exposed my husband's terrible secret. He has a favorite hobby. He's probably in Macau right now.
Macau.
Haven't you heard? There's a big hotel in Macau with a casino. Jack always goes there whenever he has free time. Michelle gasped.
So that means...
Yes, Jack is probably indulging in gambling right now. I managed his schedule so he wouldn't get too caught up in it. I guess the new secretary didn't know. He didn't want to show his bad side of wasting earned money on gambling. Michelle was so shocked she couldn't say anything. I chuckled. I'm actually thankful to you.
What?
Jack got into gambling in the last few years, introduced by some new business associates.
What does that have to do with anything?
Before you came along, I still had some feelings for Jack. I was worried about him falling further, but now I've completely let go. Taking in such a worthless man, and even giving me a generous settlement, there couldn't have been a better opportunity. Thanks to you, I can enjoy my second life. I laughed heartily. From the phone came heavy breathing.
Don't mess with me, you old hag. Getting all high and mighty.
Well then, goodbye. You're going to have a hard time, Mrs. President. I said sarcastically, ignoring Michelle's ranting on the other end, and hung up. A few days later, I was relaxing in my new apartment when the doorbell rang. Is it a delivery? I don't remember ordering anything. Suspicious, I peered through the peephole. There stood my ex-husband, Jack, his face flushed with anger.
You are there, aren't you, Karen? How dare you say that to Michelle?
Pa, about the gambling. Understanding the situation, I decided to open the door and let Jack in. He must have gone to a detective agency to find my address. Running away now would only lead to him pursuing me again. Might as well settle this here. I had important information to tell him. I prepared a folder with documents before opening the door. It's been a while, hasn't it? I greeted him with a graceful smile.
How dare you smile after ruining someone's home?
Jack was furious, yelling and leaning in close to intimidate me. But such tactics have no effect on a wife who has stood by him for years. Oh dear, why are you so red in the face? What happened?
It's none of your business.
I couldn't help but laugh. He had come here just to vent his anger. But I could see right through them. It must have been a marital spat, right?
Shut up.
Michelle must not be thrilled about you spending most of your income on gambling. She managed your salary, and you were put on an allowance system, weren't you? Jack froze in shock.
How? How did you know that? Did you bug me or something?
His serious questioning made me burst into laughter. Because we had the same conversation before, when your gambling was discovered, and you said, "What's wrong with spending my own money on my hobbies?" I bet you said the same thing to Michelle, and after fighting with her, you're taking it out on me, aren't you? Jack bit his lip and clenched his fists, falling silent. Don't underestimate the wife of 30 years. I thought to myself as I looked at the frustrated Jack. I want you to appreciate that I was your secretary. I expertly managed your schedule to minimize your gambling time, to prevent your downfall. I wonder if a naive 23-year-old like Michelle can do that.
Well, that is.
Well, you'll have to make do, won't you? Especially now that you're having a baby. Baby. The moment I mentioned the word, Jack's face lit up. What a predictable man.
Yes, that's right. Michelle and I are having a child. Unlike you, who's infertile, she can bear me a successor. You've lost as a woman.
Jack looked down on me triumphantly. Well, that's good for you.
We're happy. Stop trying to ruin my family. I came here today to warn you.
Jack pointed at me sharply. I tilted my head, feigning innocence. Me, ruin your family? I have no such intention. In fact, I'm here to help you.
Help me.
Confused, Jack gaped at me. Did you go to the obstetrician with Michelle?
What? That's a place for women. Michelle said she wanted to go alone, so I didn't accompany her.
You've seen the ultrasound photo, right? The glossy, thick paper, photo paper.
No, what I saw was on regular thin paper.
I thought so. I presented Jack with several photos from the clear folder. Grainy, black and white photos. They were ultrasound images of a baby. Jack's eyes widened.
Is this supposed to be your pregnancy?
Of course not. This is what Michelle gifted to me. She's quite prepared, isn't she? Printing these off the internet for me.
The internet?
To a puzzled Jack, I handed over a piece of paper. It was a printout of a certain SNS article. It was written 2 years ago. It was a pregnancy announcement, complete with ultrasound photos. Compare these photos. Notice anything? After looking back and forth between the photos and the article, Jack's face turned pale.
Wait, it means...
That's right. I overlaid Michelle's ultrasound photo with the article's photo, holding them up to the light. From the noise to the baby's silhouette, they matched perfectly. Ever heard of image search? It's a feature that searches the web for images similar to the one you have. That's how I found this SNS. She must have copied the entire article and cut out the photos neatly.
So, the baby...
Jack's face went completely white, looking as though he was about to collapse. I decided to give him the final blow with one more statement. It's all the lie. There's no one in her belly. Jack collapsed to his knees.
No way. She wouldn't lie about something like that. It's impossible. After everything I bought for her, designer clothes, bags, even an expensive engagement ring.
Jack vented his middled emotions by repeatedly pounding the floor with his fist. His pathetic state almost made me smile. It's unfortunate you can't become a father. If you think about it, considering your age, it's dubious whether you're even capable of fathering a child. Believing that just because she's young, she would get pregnant was a naive thought.
Oh, my.
Find out the truth from Michelle directly. I'll call her over for you now. Jack probably didn't even have the energy to argue. He remained silent and slumped. I called Michelle to the apartment. Soon, the doorbell rang, and I opened the door. Upon seeing Jack and me together, Michelle screamed.
What are you doing here? Trying to steal Jack back from me?
That's not it. Haven't I said I'm grateful to you?
I have a baby in my belly. You can't break us apart.
Michelle yelled triumphantly, not listening to me. She stepped into the room with her shoes on and gently embraced Jack's shoulder.
Are you okay? Let's go back and talk about money again. I'll manage the salary, okay? We'll overcome this trial together because in my belly is...
Shut up.
Jack slowly stood up. He stared at Michelle and spoke quietly.
The pregnancy is the lie, isn't it?
Michelle's face contorted visibly.
What? What are you talking about?
Tell me the truth, Michelle.
I am pregnant. I showed you the ultrasound photo. Our baby is the fruit of our love. Denying that is cruel.
Michelle sat down on the floor, sobbing. However, she quickly looked up and glared at me.
Karen must have poisoned your mind. Jealous because you're old and I'm young and beautiful.
Michelle huffed in arrogance. I just laughed in return. Is that all you have to say?
What? Hey, Jack, let's just go home. Come on.
Michelle pulled at Jack's arm. Jack shook her off.
That's enough, Michelle.
What?
Jack presented the blog article copy and the ultrasound photo to Michelle.
There's no escaping the truth now. I believed in you. Why did you lie about something like this? When you said you were pregnant, I was overjoyed to tears.
Then, Michelle's expression faded.
Hey, Jack.
What now?
Michelle looked up at Jack with teary eyes, trying to appeal to him.
I just wanted to test your love for me. I was afraid of being just a fling. That's why I said I was pregnant. Then you said you wanted me to have a baby, right? I was so happy.
Seeing Michelle's beaming smile, Jack seemed somewhat appeased.
So, it was because you loved me that you lied.
That's right. We can still have a baby, can't we? Our child would inherit my beauty and your brains. One day, they'll become the president and earn lots of money.
That's impossible. I interrupted Jack and Michelle's delusional world, bringing them back to reality.
Hey, we were just getting to the good part.
Do you really think this man has money? I asked calmly.
Of course, he's the president, after all.
I see, indeed, our company has been around for generations and isn't doing poorly. But that's about the company as a whole. This man is a gambler. You understand what that means, right?
What?
Michelle's face turned pale as she clung to Jack.
Hey, Jack, you're rich, right? You told me so, that you have more money than you know what to do with, and that we live a wealthy life once we're married.
Jack responded in a faltering voice when pressed.
It's fine. I may have lost some money at the casino recently, but we're starting a new venture at the company soon. That'll be a big win.
What are you talking about? I pointed out Jack's ugly lie. I know, you have no intention of starting any new venture.
What do you mean?
You got financial support from the chairman recently, right? Where is that money now? Surely it hasn't been spent on designer brands and an engagement ring for your new wife. I glared at Jack.
What are you talking about? I would never do that.
Jack laughed dismissively, but his voice trembled. I sighed briefly. You embezzled company funds, didn't you? Jack swallowed hard as I stared him down. I've been suspicious. Since the beginning of the year, you've been saying we're starting a new venture and got financial support from the chairman. But there's been no progress on any venture. You haven't even tried to make progress. And then, on to the next new venture. It's strange not to be suspicious. So, I talked to the chairman and decided to get solid evidence.
You two teamed up against me. Then, the deposit from Kevy the other day was
a decoy. You transferred the venture funds directly into your account. You've been making it hard to trace by using various accounts, but this time you put it directly into your own. What? Were you that desperate for money, trying to prove to Michelle you were wealthy? As I laid out the facts, Jack could only mumble. I delivered the final blow. You're finished. Get arrested and live the rest of your life as a convict.
Shut up. This was all done within the family. It'll probably just end with probation. Besides, Kevin will pay the bail. Even if I'm charged, I'll be out soon.
Jack tried to reassure himself.
Why do you even know about this? You were fired by me. It's none of your business.
The chairman told me.
Kevy did.
Yes, I was hired by him.
What?
Jack's mouth fell open in shock. I explained calmly. He contacted me right after he heard you'd left me. He apologized for your terrible actions and asked if he could hire me back. I said yes immediately. You didn't know.
He kept that from me. That's outrageous.
I'm grateful to him. He's put me in charge of schedule management, and my salary is even better than before. As I smiled broadly, Jack gritted his teeth.
Damn Kevin. I'll confront him right now.
Just as Jack was about to leave,
Hey,
Michelle grabbed Jack's arm. She pulled him towards her, their faces inches apart. Her expression was demonic.
hey, old man.
What?
Startled by Michelle's unusually deep voice, Jack froze. Michelle took a deep breath and yelled,
You deceived me, flaunting your wealth, and then turns out you're just an old criminal. What a joke.
I'm sorry, Michelle.
Jack, clearly terrified, tried to gently hold Michelle's hand. He looked into her eyes and slowly said,
But it's okay. I'll probably get probation and be able to return home. I may be ousted from the company, but we can be happy without money, right?
Don't joke with me.
Michelle shook off Jack's hand and looked at him as if he was filth.
A broke old man like you living with a young and beautiful woman like me. Impossible. I lied about being pregnant to get married. What a waste of time. Nowadays a stain on my family register. The worst.
Michelle pushed past Jack and left the room.
Michelle. Wait, Michelle.
Shut up.
Bang! Michelle slammed the door behind her. Jack, abandoned by his new wife, stood at the entrance like a ghost. I spoke to Jack. Please leave. This is my house.
Hey, Karen.
What?
Can we start over? Me as the president and you as the secretary. Just like before.
Jack showed a pleading smile, but I shook my head firmly. That's impossible. I really hate you. I never want to see your face again. Jack's eyes widened, and he began to tremble. That's enough of that. I opened the door and pushed Jack out. As I locked the door and began watching TV, Jack, having realized everything was over, quietly left the apartment. Later, Jack was arrested. He had hoped Kevin would pay his bail, but that expectation was dashed as he was taken to a cold jail cell alone. Jack was arrested for embezzling the funds provided by Kevin for supposed new ventures. However, he also raised funds by telling clients and affiliated companies that he was starting new ventures, then transferred this money into his personal account for private use. Jack was sentenced to actual prison time without probation, and it seemed he wouldn't be out for several years. As for Michelle, she was suspected of conspiring with Jack and was investigated. Although no evidence of conspiracy was found, the police discovered she had been scamming money from various company executives. She would approach men who appeared wealthy in bars, become friendly, then claim to be their girlfriend. She would then lie about being pregnant or needing money for a parent's surgery, coaxing large sums of money from them. In essence, Jack was just one of Michelle's many victims. Michelle was arrested for fraud. Thus, both of them ended up in the care of the police. Half a year has passed since Jack's arrest. I am still working with the chairman. Recovering the company's image after the scandal is not easy, and he is always troubled. I want to support the chairman by his side. Feeling indebted to him, I am determined to help. One evening, I returned to the company with the chairman. He sank deeply into his chair and let out a sigh.
It's been a tiring day.
We had several business dinners in a row. The chairman smiled at me.
Yes, but thanks to you choosing a good restaurant, the meal was enjoyable. Many of our business partners are around my age. so they appreciated the healthy yet luxurious restaurant. Moreover, no one knew about the restaurant today. It was like a surprise. Thanks to that, the conversation flowed. Thank you.
The chairman's face lit up with a gentle smile. His demeanor is always calm and composed, a stark contrast to Jack's impulsiveness. He speaks with respect to everyone, his earnest character shining through in every interaction. I find myself drawn to the human qualities he exhibits. Such generous words. As I bowed my head, the chairman sighed with satisfaction.
To think my foolish brother once had someone as capable as you as a partner. Truly astonishing.
I let out a light chuckle. Former partner, I have no ties with him anymore.
Ha, indeed. By the way, Karen, how long do you plan to work? Don't you ever think about retiring and living a quiet life at home?
I answered with a smile. I love my work. As long as I'm able, I wish to continue working. The chairman nodded happily, several times.
I want you to help me rebuild this company. It's going to be a long partnership, but I'm counting on you from here on out.
I nodded vigorously. Yes, Chairman. When I responded enthusiastically, the chairman, finding it amusing, laughed cheerfully. Watching him, I felt a warmth in my heart. My second life is going to be fulfilling. As I gazed at his smiling face, I was filled with this hopeful thought.
Why have I received a letter from Ava who has passed away? I was astonished, staring at an envelope in my mailbox at home. The sender of the letter was Ava, whom we had just held the funeral for the day before. Ava had been very kind to me since the beginning of my marriage with her son, and I loved her dearly. We often dined out and enjoyed shopping together, and we were close like friends despite the age difference. Ava's sudden death left me inconsolable. Even after the funeral, I still couldn't fully accept the reality of her passing. In the midst of this, receiving a letter from Ava truly shocked me. Upon hastily reading the letter, it contained something beyond my wildest expectations. First off, the reason I received this letter was, apparently, because Ava had asked the church pastor to deliver this letter to me after her death. Then, it instructed me to open the chest at Ava's house, revealing there was even a secret compartment. The method to open this secret compartment was also carefully described. And at the end of the letter, it instructed that I must open it alone. Checking the time, I realized that it was when Ava's cohabiting family members, James, her eldest son and his kids, were out at school or elsewhere. I immediately headed to Ava's house, entered with my spare key alone, and as per her letter, opened the chest's secret compartment. Thank goodness, it opened. Relieved that it opened successfully, I checked what was inside. What is this? My name is Emma. I am 35 years old, working from home as a web designer. 5 years ago, I married Noah, 4 years older than me, whom I met through a friend's introduction, and we still have a very good relationship. However, we have not been blessed with children yet. Both of us love children and wanted to have them soon after getting married, but unfortunately, we have been unable to conceive. Previously, I was deeply troubled and depressed over not being able to have children, but there was always someone who treated me with kindness. That was Noah's mother, Ava.
Emma, don't be so hard on yourself. There's no rush. It'll be okay. How about we go to that new waffle shop in front of the station for a change of pace?
Ava always encouraged me with her warm words. Bright, kind, and empathetic. I loved her so much. Ava saved me many times, and gradually, my worries about having children decreased. While I still wish for children, we have not pursued intensive fertility treatments, preferring a natural approach instead. Noah often travels for work, so in his absence, Ava and I would go out to eat or shop, just like friends with an age gap. Ava lived close to the house where Noah and I live, in the same household as James's family, who have 3 children. Ava seemed to get along well with James's family, but James and Lily often hurled insults at us for being childless.
Emma, still no kids? We have 3 lovely children, you know? It's disgraceful not to have children. Cut ties with Ava already.
James's wife Lily said this with a triumphant look, and James joined in mocking us.
You're right, Lily. Besides, Noah has always been a nobody, and even if you had kids, they'd probably be nobodies too.
At first, Noah and I would talk back to James and Lily terrible remarks. However, they never listened to us, so gradually, we stopped responding. And we began to avoid them as much as possible. They treated us terribly, but in front of Ava, they acted like good people. So Ava never knew their true nature. We didn't want to worry Ava unnecessarily, so we never told her about their behavior. One day, Noah, Ava, and I planned to go out to eat on a holiday. When the time came, we headed to Ava's house. Usually, Ava would be waiting outside before the appointed time, but she wasn't there. What, is Ava not ready yet?
It's unusual, but she should be out soon.
We were not too concerned, as we waited for her. But even after 5 minutes, then 10 minutes, she didn't come out and didn't answer her phone. What could have happened to her? Growing increasingly anxious, we decided to ring the doorbell at her house. However, with no response, we used our spare key to enter.
Hey, Mom.
Noah called her out as he entered the house, but there was no reply from inside. With a sense of foreboding, we hurriedly searched for Ava. Then, we found her collapsed in the living room. Ava. I rushed to her side, screaming, while Noah immediately called an ambulance. It seemed the James family was out, as there was no one else in the house but Ava. The ambulance arrived in about 8 minutes, and Ava was quickly taken to the hospital, but, sadly, she passed away. It turned out to be a stroke. Noah and I could not accept her sudden departure. We cried as if our tears would never stop. But there was much to do, like preparing for the funeral. We couldn't remain saddened and withdrawn forever. The funeral was a family affair, with James, the eldest son, serving as the chief mourner. For Ava's sake, Noah and I had to proceed with the funeral preparations, coordinating with James. Yet, during the arrangements and meetings with the funeral home, I sensed an air of reluctance from James. He didn't seem to mourn Ava's death, but at the wake and funeral, he fulfilled his duties as the chief mourner, at least minimally. Still, he would soon call Noah over to talk to the relatives. After that, he would quickly leave the table, causing the relatives to glare at him disapprovingly. Moreover, during the meal after the funeral, James was the first to sit down and made no move to stand up. He simply kept drinking beer, even as Noah urged him to greet the guests. Lily was also just drinking beer beside him, so Noah and I rushed to mingle with the relatives and talk about Ava and their visits. Perhaps seeing their parents just drinking and eating, James's 3 kids were absorbed in their handheld gaming devices. They laughed and playfully nudged each other, creating an atmosphere far removed from a post-funeral gathering. None of James's family seemed to mourn Ava's death. The relatives probably sensed their attitude. They barely spoke to James and Lily, but shared farewells and memories with Noah and me. Even as the relatives' demeanor toward them starkly changed, James and his family remained unaffected. They continuously ordered beer, talked about the inheritance and planned for a trip during the morning. Despite being so cared for by Ava, in her lifetime, they were very disrespectful to her wake and funeral. I glared at James's family with contempt. The next day, Noah left early for various errands. Alone at home, I went to check the mailbox for the newspaper and noticed an envelope inside. Who could it be from? I took out the letter and saw it was addressed to me, with Ava as the sender. Why? Why would there be a letter from Ava? Surprised, I returned to the living room and opened the letter. It contained something I never anticipated. Apparently, Ava had arranged with the church pastor to mail this letter to me after her death. The letter mentioned opening a chest at Ava's house, how to open a secret compartment in the chest of drawers, and the contact information for a family lawyer. And finally, it instructed that I must open the chest of drawers alone. I traced Ava's letter repeatedly. She was slender, but her handwriting was large and forceful. It truly reflected her way of life, and I felt a deep sigh of relief. I looked up at the clock. 9:30. Ava's house should be empty by now. Muttering to myself, I quickly got ready and headed to her house. The kids would be at school by then, and James and Lily would have left early that day. I saw on Lily's social media earlier that she and James were going out. Despite it being the day after Ava's funeral, they seemed to be sending the kids off to school and bragging about enjoying their day off, using bereavement leave. If that post was true, there should be no one at the house. I had to go then, or I might not get another chance. Using my spare key, I opened the front door of the house and slowly entered. The absence of Ava, always there with a welcoming smile, filled me with sadness. I held back the pain in my chest as I entered Ava's room. Her chest of drawers was quite old. But perhaps because she occasionally tended to it, the chest of drawers opened smoothly. And as the letter described, I found and opened the secret compartment in the back of the chest drawer. Thank goodness, it opened. I was able to open it safely, and I let out a sigh of relief. I checked what was inside. There, along with the items mentioned in the letter, was another document. What is this? Staring at the document, I felt Ava's love and nearly broke down in tears. I wanted to stay and cry, but I needed to leave quickly. It would be bad if someone returned and saw me. Especially since Ava's letter instructed me to do this alone. After taking the documents home, I contacted the family lawyer mentioned in the letter and informed him of Ava's passing. I was about to suggest to Noah and James's family that we all meet during the weekend, but just then, I received an email. It was from Lily. She was asking for us to gather at Ava's house during the weekend for an important announcement. What could Lily possibly want to talk about? I had a bad feeling. Though skeptical, it would be odd to refuse, so I agreed to Lily's request. On that weekend, I arrived at the house with Noah and was nervous about the discussion. James and Lily had smug, unpleasant smiles, and their 3 children were not present. They were probably being looked after elsewhere. As soon as Noah and I sat down, they flaunted a document.
This is the will Ava left behind,
Lily declared loudly. The signature on the will was indeed Ava's, stating that all her assets should be inherited by James and Lily.
You see, it says here we inherit everything, so you guys won't get a penny. Too bad.
James laughed mockingly. His face was ugly with glee. Noah was perplexed, but I silently stood up and brought in the lawyer waiting outside.
Who is this?
James and Lily were confused by the sudden appearance of the lawyer. Noah was also surprised, not knowing the lawyer had been waiting. This person is the lawyer Ava had trusted. I introduced him briefly, and James and Lily's faces slowly turned from shock to anger.
A lawyer? Why did you bring one here?
Per Ava's instructions, she wanted the lawyer to help with the smooth creation of the inheritance division agreement. James and Lily loudly protested the need for a lawyer. James slammed the table again and gestured towards the will.
Mom left a will. We don't need a lawyer with this.
At that, the lawyer quietly raised his hand.
Is this document entirely written by your mother, without a doubt?
James asserted it was. The lawyer shook his head significantly at the scene.
This cannot be accepted as a will. A handwritten will must be entirely written by the person themselves.
The lawyer pointed out the word will at the beginning and Ava's signature at the end. Ava's name was written in a familiar handwriting, but the rest looked like it was printed from a computer or something. The previously noisy living room fell eerily silent. James, as if jolted, reached out for the will and brought it closer to himself. But the text remained unchanged. It's just the neat printed Gothic font.
Wait,
Suddenly, Noah pointed at James.
why is the back of the paper so clean?
Upon hearing Noah's remark, we noticed there was indeed something off about the will.
The signature part and the rest of the text have different handwriting. Could this will be forged?
The lawyer's comment made James and Lily's shoulders twitch in shock.
What are you talking about? There's no way we would do such a thing. What's with this tension? What if it was forged? What then?
Lily's words prompted the lawyer to speak.
Falsifying a will is a crime of forgery of private documents.
James and Lily turned pale. While the flustered couple blurted out incoherent excuses, the lawyer delivered a crucial piece of information.
Emma has a notarized will, so this will here is invalid.
What?
James and Lily were dumbfounded, their eyes wide.
What is that? We weren't told.
In Ava's letter to me, it was written that she had hidden the notarized will behind the secret compartment in the chest. We didn't know either. Ava told us the hiding place in the letter we received recently. The letter didn't just contain practical matters, but also why she made a notarized will and told me about it. Ava had been feeling her health declining and decided to prepare a will, suspecting that James and Lily would likely alter it. I thought Ava was completely unaware of their true nature, but it seems she had been vaguely aware of their greed. The notarized will stated that the property should be divided equally between James and Noah.
What? She prepared something like this.
James and Lily were stunned. Then James suddenly shouted, his face lighting up with realization.
Wait, but the beneficiary of Mom's life insurance is me. Right, it should go to me, the eldest son.
While James was shouting with glittering eyes, I told him in a cold voice. In addition to the notarized will, Ava also entrusted me with the life insurance policy. The beneficiary is me. Inside the secret compartment of the chest drawers, there was not only the notarized will, but also the life insurance policy. James and Lily stared incredulously at the notarized will and life insurance policy.
I didn't hear about this. I knew nothing of this.
Changes to the beneficiary of a life insurance policy don't necessarily notify the original beneficiary, so that's to be expected.
James slammed the table, claiming ignorance, but the lawyer's factual reply cut through his words sharply.
When did Mom entrust you with all this? Emma, I knew nothing. Did she not want to tell me?
Noah asked me anxiously. I smiled at Noah and explained. Ava wrote it in her letter. She wanted to tell you too, but moving together would have raised the risk of James and Lily catching on, so she entrusted it to me alone.
That makes sense. Mom and you were really close, after all.
While Noah and I were talking, Lily screamed hysterically.
I can accept this. Why should her assets go to you, who never even showed her any grandkids? This is outrageous. I can accept this at all.
That's right. You childless ingrates have no right to Mom's assets. We lived with her just for the inheritance, so split it equally. What a joke. The inheritance should all be ours.
James yelled, his face flushed with anger. Lily continued her selfish rant.
We have 3 kids, you know? You should give up her inheritance to us, for our kids' future, as compensation for not showing her any grandkids. We, who could show her 3 grandkids, are hundreds of times more deserving than you. So the inheritance should all be ours.
Unfazed by Lily's outburst, I remained calm and stated firmly. What you're saying is all over the place, please calm down a bit. Lily didn't seem to like my composed demeanor and lunged at me while screaming.
I hate your smug attitude. Just hand over the money, you childless, useless woman.
Noah and the lawyer intervened quickly, but Lily struck me in the head with her fist faster than they could react. Ouch. Her hand had several large rings on it, which felt like brass knuckles, causing me to cry out from the dull pain.
Stop it.
While Noah and the lawyer pulled Lily away, she was still agitated and reached out for me again.
Hand over the inheritance. I should get it all because I have 3 kids.
Lily's eyes were bloodshot, her face twisted in fury.
Go on, hit her more.
James egged Lily on, and infuriated Noah called the police. Soon after, the police arrived, and Noah and the lawyer explained the situation. James and Lily were then taken away by the police. Left behind, Noah and I thanked the lawyer and decided to send him home for the day. It was supposed to be just a meeting to discuss the creation of the inheritance division agreement, but it turned into a complete mess. We agreed to apologize to him later on. Noah was very concerned about me being hit by Lily, but I assured him that the pain in my head had completely gone, and he seemed relieved. Reflecting on the intense situation, I muttered, "What an intense period this has been." Then Noah mentioned something odd to me.
You know, Lily always seemed to overly flaunt her kids, bragging about how great she is for showing 3 grandkids to mom. Don't you think she's too greedy about money?
Indeed, Lily had always boasted about her children, and her obsession with money earlier was extreme. Well, yes, Ava intended to divide the inheritance equally, yet Lily wanted it all, which is abnormal. Her face when she hit me was terrifying.
That's what I thought too. It's definitely abnormal.
Noah then fell silent, lost in thought. What's wrong? Is something bothering you? I asked him, unable to understand what he was implying.
Yay, I've been thinking, maybe we should suggest a DNA test for James's 3 kids.
I was surprised at Noah's suggestion. DNA testing?
Yes, and I'm thinking of proposing a background check on Lily too. It's just a hunch, but something feels off.
Although, I thought it might be too much, Noah's instincts had often been right before. Okay, if you say so, we should suggest it to James. Later, when Noah brought it up to James, he reportedly ridiculed Noah and yelled at him.
Just because you don't have kids, don't suspect ours.
But at the end of the confrontation, James snatched the DNA testing information from Noah, as if stealing it. Perhaps James had his suspicions as well. The first results to come back were James and his children's DNA tests. It was revealed that the second and the youngest sons were not biologically related to James.
I suspected the youngest because he didn't resemble either parent much, but the second son too.
Noah was speechless. Perhaps finally facing the truth, James thoroughly investigated Lily's background. The findings were damning. Lily had been involved with multiple men even before marrying James. And recently, the truth had been discovered by the wives of her lovers, who then demanded compensation. Lily, being home more often than James, had meticulously hidden the certified mail and other evidence. The total demanded in compensation far exceeded what Lily could cover with her earnings or savings. Lily must have been desperate to secure Ava's inheritance for herself. As expected, James and Lily ended up in a violent altercation, throwing objects and brawling until they were both bleeding. Neighbors, unable to stand the noise, called the police. Eventually, the police arrived and took them both into custody. They were already facing charges for forging Ava's will, and now they added assault to their crimes. Further investigation by the police revealed more misdemeanors, including theft and stalking wealthy individuals. Eventually, James and Lily were sent to prison. Concerned about the future of the three children, Noah and I debated what to do. With Ava gone, we were their closest relatives. We considered taking them in but ultimately decided against. Unfortunately, the children had fully absorbed their parents' negative attitudes, blatantly calling us childless and incompetent. The eldest, Tom, being 14, certainly knew right from wrong, and even the youngest, at 7, should understand basic decency. Yet, every time they met us, all three of them would smirk and hurl insults. It seems their mindset didn't change, even though their parents were arrested, and they were in the middle of that trouble.
I wouldn't mind being raised by you, childless losers.
The 14-year-old, Tom, taunted us. It was something I never expected to hear. Hearing such words made it impossible for me to feel any love or hope of raising them to be decent individuals. Ultimately, we contacted Lily's parents and decided to cease all contact with the kids. It seemed the children understood our firm decision.
If it's between staying with you childless incompetence and grandma's run-down place, the latter is better.
So I guess it was for the best. We haven't told the children that two of them are not biologically related to James. Whether or not the truth would be revealed to them will be up to James and Lily's relatives. Noah and I decided to use the inheritance left by Ava as a financial resource to move to a new place far away. It was a location rich in nature with plenty of greenery, where both of us quickly felt at home. There's a charming waffle shop near our new home, which always makes me think of how much Ava would have loved to visit if she was with us. Not long after moving, I finally became pregnant. The positive result on the pregnancy test made me scream in surprise and joy. After visiting the OB/GYN for confirmation, we were told without a doubt that I was pregnant. We cried tears of joy as we embraced each other. Ava would have been so happy for us. Also, the business venture I had been secretly planning is progressing well. Noah and I are working hard for our upcoming child, enjoying fulfilling and happy days.
My name is Natalie Howard, and I'm 46 years old. When I was married, my last name was Campbell, but now I'm divorced. I was known as Natalie Campbell 18 years ago when I was 28 years old. My then-husband, Steve Campbell, was 30, and our daughter, Rita Campbell, was just 5. But during our marriage, I couldn't say I was truly happy. Rita was diagnosed with cancer, and it caused a rift in our marriage.
Damn, why does my daughter have cancer? Having such a weak person come from my family, what a shame. It's all because you didn't pay enough attention to her diet. And now she's received a terminal diagnosis. How terribly did you raise her? There's no worse mother than you anywhere. No matter how much I earn, it all goes to medical bills. When I have no time for myself, you're just napping at home, aren't you? My mom used to say we're isolated in the neighborhood because of the failed wife and granddaughter you've given me. It's your fault the Campbell family is facing this disaster. It's all your fault. Don't think pretending to cry will help. I'm not fooled by such cheap drama.
Steve would rant and then leave the house. Was he going to work or to his mistress's place? I was kind of aware of it. When Rita was diagnosed with cancer, Steve quickly found another woman.
I work for Rita too. What's this about a weak person? Cancer can strike anyone, you fool. You lack not only medical knowledge, but even common sense. Just because you're somewhat elite, you keep making these nasty comments. So annoying, what a terrible man.
Muttering to myself, I got ready and headed to the office. That night, I was exhausted from work, but Steve didn't bother with dinner. He was lounging on the sofa, laughing loudly at the TV.
Hey, where have you been? Where's my dinner? Why didn't you prepare it? You're the reason I'm so tired. Hurry up, you useless wife. A failure of a wife.
While I was silently preparing dinner, Steve unusually came close to me.
We're getting divorced. Actually, my beloved Mandy is pregnant. It's my child, and it's a healthy boy. So, this is the end for us. Be thankful for the times we had, and here, sign these divorce papers.
I wasn't sad. Rather, I felt that the inevitable had finally arrived. After I calmly signed the divorce papers, Steve quickly packed his things and left. Thus, 18 years ago, I was driven out of the Campbell family and returned to my parental home. And now I've coincidentally run into Steve again at a large shopping mall. It had been 18 years, so when I saw Steve with a baby, I was shocked. But he seemed to remember me as he approached with a smirk.
Hey, is that kid still alive? Look, a grandkid. I'm blessed with children and wealth.
I too will introduce my company, worth $150 million, celebrating its 18th year on the market, and my daughter's family.
What?
Steve was stunned, but then sneered again.
Come on, are you just bitter because your daughter died? It's okay, you don't need to pretend. Your dad's company went bankrupt, right? You don't need to boast. Or is it, are you just too jealous of other people's happiness, so you say these things out of desperation? I never thought you were such a low woman. It's okay, I can lend you some money. Oh, did I just say that because I have this grandkid? If you apologize now, I might still forgive you. Look at this Alto, a large shopping mall. If you're associated with such a grand facility, I'd kneel and apologize for the divorce. But your company couldn't possibly compete with this Alto, the biggest in the Manhattan area, right?
Smirking, Steve started rambling on, unaware of whom he was talking to. Alto is the nickname for this large shopping mall we're in. It's a hot spot, known throughout the country as the biggest shopping center in Manhattan. Are you just leisurely shopping with that grandkid or something? I deliberately provoked him. Then, Steve's face darkened. He's still the same man, weak against petty provocations.
Yeah, so what? What happened to that kid, Rita? Whether she's alive or not, it's none of my business, right? In the end, you're just no charm, no friendliness, just unpleasant. My wife, Mandy, she's still a lovely and amiable woman. You're my complete opposite, polar opposite, yet you're so stuck up, it's infuriating. You can't genuinely accept others' happiness. What a miserable woman.
Look, you can say whatever about me, but that baby, what? About 6 months old now. How can you spout such vitriol with a child around? Kids pick up on everything. Isn't it time you stopped belittling and bad-mouthing people? It's harmful to the child, but I suppose you wouldn't understand, to you. Putting others down is a hobby, isn't it? At the time of our divorce, you were the one with a lover. Shouldn't you be grateful I didn't ask for alimony? I smirked confidently, which seemed to ignite Steve's fury.
What did you say? Forget it. I can claim it now, right? I have this adorable grandchild. After all, I get your struggle, though. Your daughter died and your dad's business went bankrupt, right? What's your job now, in the nightlife industry? Have you hit rock bottom? If there's a place that would hire an old hag like you, I'd seriously want to see it. Brainless, charmless, oddly feisty. It'd be tough even to find a company willing to hire you, wouldn't it? Or is it the case that you're living off welfare? I guess it's easier for someone single, huh? Since you can earn your keep, might as well.
How about you leave it at that? I cut Steve off, producing my business card. Sorry for the late introduction. I'm Natalie Howard, owner of the Alto facility here.
What? No way, even for boasting.
I was abandoned by you 18 years ago, along with our sick daughter, Rita, in the worst possible way, but it was for the best since I was fed up with you. As you know, my father's company was small and struggling to get by. Still, I supported my father and took care of him. He worked from dawn till dusk without sparing time to sleep. You probably didn't know, but he even canceled his life insurance to cover Rita's medical expenses. Sure, my father has passed away, but until his last moments, he was worried about his granddaughter. You wouldn't understand someone who doesn't get the struggles of others. Now, through various connections, I'm the owner of Alto, a large commercial facility here. Oh, and Rita, whom you think is dead, has fully recovered and is married into a prominent Manhattan real estate family. She didn't marry someone like you, so I believe she made a good match.
A prominent real estate family in Manhattan? Rita married into such a family. Are you delusional? People don't believe small lies but believe big ones, some cartoonist said, and it's exactly like that. It's pitiful how much you're boasting. I was foolish to even think of helping you a little. I've truly married a foolish woman. This business card, flaunting as you are, lacks credibility. Even if I tear it up and throw it away, it's not worth picking up. After all this time, such pitiful delusions. Are you living that miserably? I could lend you some money. Here, I'll scatter some coins. Pick them up and count each one.
What are you talking about? Rita's cancer was indeed at an intermediate stage, but changing doctors led to her full recovery. Do you get that struggle? After we separated, my father's company grew significantly. Don't you know Dolgu? Impossible you don't. Given your love for brand names, you wouldn't miss out on something new.
Dolgu, the globally acclaimed brand. Have you lost your mind? Dolgu indeed appeared suddenly 18 years ago, and you're claiming to be associated with Dolgu and Alto. You think I'd believe such a story? You scammer.
Dolgu is the brand my father and I worked hard to create. I am the CEO. He retired. It started as a small company. There was only one physical store in a rural area, but we managed through tough times with someone's help. You must know about this.
Yes, I know. The Dolgu brand spread when a world-famous soprano singer noticed it and favored it on social media. leading to its success. Now it's a hit among college students.
Exactly, I said, with a triumphant smile. Thanks to that soprano, our company has seen significant growth. Everything sells out immediately, no matter how much we produce. We can't keep up. Waiting 6 months for a product reservation has become the norm. Not just Dolgu, other brands we stock have also become famous. The word got out to the influential landowners in Manhattan, and I was invited to become the owner of this large commercial facility. Alto, it's none of your business, though, right? After all, you abandoned your wife and daughter for your mistress, and here at Alto.
Lies. Alto is a massive commercial facility where you can find anything: groceries, food, furniture, electronics, a cinema, indoor playgrounds, a library, a food court, and even Instagram were the spots. There's no way someone useless like you could manage that. Or is this business card also a lie? Such a Cinderella story. It's only in fairy tales. Have you lost your mind? Even I feel sorry for you. It's also a popular tourist destination, and students from Manhattan flock here, yet you claim to be the owner. Rita is gone, isn't she? That's what delusional women think.
What are you talking about? Rita is very much alive. My company's success has been a great example for her. She's always been grateful to me, her mother, and she's turned out to be a wonderful daughter. She's been influenced positively by me, worked incredibly hard, and studied relentlessly. And what do you think happened? She graduated top of her class from a prestigious British university, even skipping grades, and she remains my pride and joy. Rita now works with my company, and after learning about her, the head of the Manhattan land-owning family approached her for marriage. You probably don't even know the name of Rita's university, do you? Hey you, who flanked out of a third-rate college twice. And just so you know, Rita is now pregnant, expecting a boy suitable to be an heir. Though, nowadays, it doesn't matter whether it's a boy or a girl for inheritance, but you seem to care a lot about that, don't you?
You bastard!
Steve yelled, silencing the room instantly.
It's a lie. It has to be. Hey, isn't there a security guard around? There's a scammer here. Someone catch her.
Suddenly, Steve was shouting as if he'd lost his mind. The baby, grandkid or something, he was holding started to cry. The stares from other customers were harsh, but I couldn't bother about that now. Then 3 security guards arrived.
Mrs. Howard, is everything all right?
Seeing one guard's response, Steve's face turned pale.
Mrs. Howard, hey, security. This woman is a scammer, pretending to be the owner. I'd rather you listen to me than follow such a woman.
I'm sorry for this trouble, but could you please escort this man to the back reception room of Alto? He's getting too agitated and causing a scene. Let's go, I'll join you.
Of course. Come on then.
Wait.
Steve, being taken away by the security guards. With all this commotion, it's bound to reach my daughter's family soon. I had no intention of hiding it, so I called my daughter's father-in-law, Thomas. He's a strict man who hates lies. Given that, I wonder what will become of Steve. After hearing the situation, Thomas said he'd come to the reception room right away.
Natalie, wait, did you say Steve Campbell? Really?
Oh, yes, that's right. Do you know him?
I'm on my way. Thanks for telling me.
Anyway, letting him out now would only cause more of a scene. I don't want to tarnish the name of Alto. That's why I decided to have him taken to the reception room. 3 security guards took Steve to the back reception room of Alto. Steve seemed reluctant to go to the reception room.
Wait, I won't make a scene anymore. I have my grandchild with me. Please, let me go home. I promise I won't cause any trouble. Please.
Steve's grandchild, refusing something, started bawling. When they finally got Steve to sit on the sofa in the reception room, his face was pale.
Come on, Natalie, let me go home. I didn't do anything wrong, and I'll even pay the alimony from now, so please.
Steve strangely disliked the reception room. Why was he acting like this? While I was wondering, Rita entered the room first.
Hey, oh, is that you, Rita? You've grown, I'm your dad. Come on, Rita, tell Natalie to let me.
Who are you? I was told my father is dead.
Smart Rita coldly eyed Steve, pretending to be her father. Unable to withstand her gaze, Steve finally quieted down.
Come on, Rita, help your dad out.
My real father is no longer exist, you know? Oh, are you my father? The one who left my sick mother and me for his mistress? Well, if you're asking for help, I might just help you. If it's to send you to the coldest place, to jail.
What are you saying? I'm your dad.
Shut up.
Steve shouted, but he couldn't escape from the reception room. With 3 security guards present, it was even less likely. Rita said persistently,
Where's your mistress now? Oh, what's this? Did she run off on you? And this baby you call your grandchild, maybe there's no blood relation after all?
Rita, what do you mean?
I've looked into this trash man before. Turns out his mistress, Mandy, had a son, but with a different father. He unknowingly registered the birth and acknowledged the child, and then the mistress dumped the kid on him and ran away. Isn't it because of your bad karma that you ended up like this? Seems I have a half-brother, but I wonder if his wife really gave birth to his child.
What, Rita?
Stay calm.
We'll take care of the child because it's dangerous.
One of the security guards lifted the baby Steve was holding. Holding a baby without a proper carrier, what was he thinking? What if he had dropped the baby? That thought crossed my mind.
Hey, my grandchild.
We'll return the baby once you calm down.
Please, settle down.
Mom, why did you even bring this trash man to the reception room? He's not worth it, and you, as the owner of Alto, must be busy, right?
It's okay. I need to settle things with this person. Rita, did you get in touch with Thomas? Can he come over soon?
He's on his way. Should be here any minute. Oh, here he is.
Hello, Natalie. What's happened?
Thomas, actually, my ex-husband is causing a scene in the store, and I couldn't just hide it, so I had to call you.
Are you, by any chance, Steve Campbell?
With Thomas's remark, the atmosphere changed. Steve's face turned white, as if it were the end of the world. I asked Thomas, "Do you know this man, Thomas?"
Yes, Natalie. You did well to call me. This man committed fraud on my property. and I've been searching for him. Right, Steve Campbell? You haven't forgotten my face, have you? And it seems you've caused some trouble here at Alto too. How far will you go in mocking people?
No, I was planning to repay the money, really. I've been working towards that.
Thomas, what's this about? How do you know this man? Then, the head of the Manhattan real estate family, at opposite Steve.
Natalie, are you familiar with the legend of gourmet fraud case? Reader, do you know about it? At least by name, right? It was a massive fraud case 2 years ago. Steve Campbell here disappeared after taking money from vendors and participants, promising a festival called the Legend of Gourmet. And yet, he dares to step foot on Alto's land. Quite the audacity, huh, Steve Campbell, you con artist.
No, I intend to repay the money. I was preparing for that. But then, this woman, Natalie, she interfered.
Do you realize how much damage your legend of gourmet fraud caused us? You rotten bastard.
Thomas's scolding was filled with immense force and anger. I was even startled by it. But inside, I was cheering. I'm even grateful that he said so accurately. Then, as if to drive the point home, Rita appealed to Thomas.
Thomas, this man abandoned my mother and me for his mistress, an awful man. My mother's hardship was all because of him. And yet, he hasn't offered a single word of apology.
Rita, that's...
So, you're that despicable, huh? Not only did you trouble us, but you also mistreated your own daughter. A monstrous man, Steve Campbell. If my memory serves me right, you begged for land use permission, promising success. It seems all that was a lie, wasn't it? You were desperate, but was that also a lie? Well, at least the vendors will be relieved if you're arrested here.
Arrested? Please wait, my grandchild is just a baby.
Some shop owners were driven to close their shops in tears because of the damage you caused, and others had to downsize. Despite everyone suffering, you ran off to your mistress, abandoning your wife and child. You're a textbook criminal.
Criminal? I've been actively working to repay. If I get arrested now, I won't be able to make the repayments. Then what about my sincerity and apology?
We don't need an apology from scum like you. Get lost, you fraud. Security, call the police. It might make the evening news if they hurry.
Wait, please. Natalie, I beg you. I'll apologize for everything. Just not arrest, not the police. Come on, I'm your ex-husband. If I get caught, it will tarnish your reputation too. So please, not the police.
Steve clung to me, devoid of any dignity. Just a rotten man. So I told the hesitating security guard with a smile. Call the police. It's fine. I've done nothing wrong.
Natalie, do something.
This lousy father, enough already. Do you know how much my mom suffered? And my grandfather too, he had a hard time until the end. Trying to escape now, what a shameful man.
Your actions led to some shops going bankrupt. Finally, I can end my search.
Indeed. Afterwards, Steve kept interfering with the call, so the security guard had to step out into the corridor. Steve burst into tears. Rita and Thomas scolded Steve until the police arrived. Steve just cried, without a word of apology, which only fueled Rita and Thomas's anger.
Stop crying. Are you even a man? Pathetic. Can't you say sorry?
Rita's right. You fraud. We'll corner you thoroughly. Be prepared.
Later, the police officer and the detective in charge of the Legend of Gourmet fraud case arrived and took Steve and the baby away.
Natalie, really, forgive me. I don't want to go to jail yet. I have a little grandchild.
Hey, keep quiet. You're under suspicion of fraud.
Steve resisted the police quite a bit, but in the end, he hung his head and left the reception room. I thanked Thomas. Thomas, thank you. You've cleared up a lot about the Gourmet Hall fraud case. I feel much better now.
Oh, don't mention it. The success of Alto is all thanks to you, Natalie. And Rita, you two are such a hard-working mother and a daughter. My son is truly lucky to have a wife like her. Leave the Gourmet Hall fraud case to me. I'll make sure to squeeze every penny out of that scoundrel.
Thomas left the reception room with a hearty laugh. I told Rita to sit down.
Oh. Why?
Well, you're not in the safe period of your pregnancy yet, right? It's fine to get angry for me, but it's not good for the baby.
No, Mom, to be able to get back at such a man for you is a once-in-a-lifetime joy. Plus, I don't want you to suffer anymore. I'm sure the baby in my belly understands too.
Rita said, gently stroking her not yet noticeably pregnant belly. Then, Rita and I turned on the TV in the reception room. Breaking news came on. The screen switched from a drama rerun to the news with a male announcer.
We have breaking news. Steve Campbell, a suspect in the Gourmet Hall fraud case and on the run, has been arrested. This case forced many to close their businesses or declare bankruptcy, and the police believe this arrest will help uncover the full extent of the incident.
Just like Thomas said, it really made the evening news.
Yeah. Oh, I should have scolded him more. He made you suffer so much.
The TV showed the police station.
Look! The car carrying Steve Campbell is entering the police station now. This massive fraud case came to light last year, and the police will reveal more details in a press conference.
What a foolish man, really. But well, he'll be going to prison for a while after the trial.
Oh, what do you mean, Rita?
Well, he was already on probation for another case. Probably, he'll get a prison sentence for this Legend of Gourmet fraud case. Anyway, it's none of our business. Let's get back to work, Mom. I'll head home and lie down for a bit.
Did your belly get tight? Are you okay?
I'm fine. This is normal. The obstetrician said everything is going smoothly.
Pregnancy is not to be taken lightly. If anything happens, call me or your husband, okay?
Sure, Mom.
Later, Steve received a guilty verdict. And as Rita mentioned, due to being on probation, he couldn't escape prison. The TV was abuzz with the Legend of Gourmet fraud case from 2 years ago, including interviews with victims who were driven to close their shops by Steve's deception. The victims unanimously said, "We're glad the culprit was caught," shedding tears. Some indeed had gone bankrupt. No journalists or magazine writers came to me. Probably Thomas was working behind the scenes. Then, my daughter gave birth, and I became a grandmother. The baby boy, born healthy, weighed about 8.8 pounds. Both mother and child were healthy upon discharge, and Thomas was utterly smitten. Rita's husband was also overjoyed, saying, "He's my boy." While continuing to work vigorously, I supported my daughter through her parenting struggles, and occasionally took care of my grandson as a grandmother. I was at the peak of happiness. Then, an unknown number called me. "Hello, who is this?"
"How could you do this?"
"Yes." I listened closely to the phone.
"My ex-husband got convicted because of you. The media has been coming to my place every day."
With that, I realized who it was. The mistress who divorced, Mindy.
"What are you going to do about this? I can't even walk outside now."
"Oh, who was it that pinned another man's child on Steve? What do you call that, I wonder?"
"How do you know that?"
"That's what you call a scumbag, dear. Don't you ever call me again. If you do, blocking your number will be the least of your worries."
"Who do you think you are? I'm the victim here, because of you."
"Well, would that be okay? I could spread the word that you're the woman who stole Steve from me. It won't bother me at all. Then you might not be able to live in the US for a while, right? We Americans loves a good spectacle. You'd be surrounded by curious reporters. It's all karma, you know."
"What are you talking about? Using big words. Come and apologize to me. I'm really struggling here. It's all your fault. I got a letter from Steve saying it's all because of you. Just come and apologize to me. What are you going to do about it?"
"Well, I don't see any reason why I should apologize to you. Who was it that had the affair? Wasn't it you? It's fine. I can call the magazine reporters and tell them everything, both now and from 18 years ago. The only person who will suffer is you. But is that okay with you?" I spoke with persistence and sarcasm, finding it very satisfying. After all, I was getting my revenge after 18 years. The call ended there. Thus, I put an end to the events of 18 years ago and went back to work. I'm Lisa, a housewife with a daughter in high school. Though I say housewife, I actually work, so it's more accurate to call me a working mom. I work at my father's company, where I've been given a fairly important role. So, I have many subordinates, and am always mindful of those around me. The employees are all good people, so I've tried to do my best too. One day, my dad started complaining about feeling unwell. He was coughing and having difficulty breathing, so I thought it might be a cold or something. But when we went to the hospital, it turned out not to be a cold. The test results showed that his tumor marker levels were high, and he was immediately referred to a larger hospital. I was totally lost. I wondered, what are tumor markers again? And started researching online. What I found was terrifying. After returning from the major hospital, my dad seemed downcast. It turned out he had lung cancer. He never smoked, and there was no history of cancer in our family, so it was a shock. But I guess diseases can strike even if you're careful. After that, my dad was hospitalized but didn't get any better. He gradually lost weight and became frail. Between visiting my dad and work, I became incredibly busy. My mom had passed away, and I have no siblings. So, it was all on me, but my husband acted as if he couldn't care less. He didn't worry and was always out having fun.
Your dad has cancer, huh? So what? That's not my problem. I won't help.
But I just wish you'd do some chores around the house. I'm tired and busy too.
Huh? Even if you say you're tired, that's your problem. He's your dad, so deal with it. And why would I do chores? I'm a man.
What?
Men have to be strong, not doing housework like women. Men who do chores are weak. You're the family's servant, so just get on with it.
When did my husband become so domineering? I was at my wit's end. My daughter is already 16 and practically an adult and can do everything on her own, but my husband won't take care of his own needs. I have to prepare everything for him. It's like having a giant baby at home. He's demanding and always complaining, which is utterly exhausting. With my dad's visits, work, and chores, I was on the verge of collapse. But falling apart wasn't an option. Somehow, I managed to keep going with energy drinks and supplements. But age takes its toll, and there's only so much one can handle. I might have been able to do everything if I were younger, but I'm already 46. Then, my dad began to sleep more and more. He barely responded when called, so I knew the end was near. Both the doctors and nurses told us to prepare ourselves. And then, my father passed away. He looked peaceful, as if he were just sleeping. Dad, you worked so hard. You're not in pain anymore, right? You don't have to go through any more painful treatments, so rest in peace. But I wish we could have had more time together. Dad, why did you have to go, Dad? I cried my heart out, unbecoming of my age. My daughter, Eliza, was crying too. In contrast, my husband, who was just standing by, seemed to feel nothing and quickly left to buy a drink from a vending machine. I thought he might have bought something for us as well, but it seems he only bought for himself. It made me realize he's incapable of showing concern for others. After that, my father was cremated. Watching the smoke rise, I truly felt his absence from this world. Then, I officially took over my father's company. It seems everyone is ready to support me fully. Knowing I'm not cut out to be a CEO, I was quite nervous. Starting today, I'll strive to do my best, working together with all of you. I'll make an effort to continue producing great products. The employees all worked hard for my late father. We managed to finish and sell the product he had been developing, which was his dying wish. The sales team was excellent, and our sales kept growing. With the need to produce more, I considered expanding our factory. That's when my husband brought up this conversation.
Hey, now that you've taken over your dad's company, how much are you making? Is it profitable?
A bad feeling washed over me, so I decided to lie on the spot. Actually, it's pretty tough, only about $37,000. That's all we're making. I guess I'm not cut out to be a CEO, and the morale among the employees is low.
Oh, yeah.
We might go bankrupt someday. Hey, I wouldn't know how to face my father then.
Well, you're incompetent, after all, not smart and not good at managing things.
He laughed and went somewhere. Probably to his room to play video games. At his age, he's always playing games. It's fine if he's buying games within his allowance, but I wish he'd help out more around the house. Realizing I couldn't expect anything from him, I just went about my chores, indifferent. My high school daughter helped, and we quickly finished the housework. I wished he would take a lesson from Eliza. His life skills are probably worse than hers. Then, I decided to purchase a vacant lot next to our company for the factory expansion. This used to be the location of a very large mansion. But the owner passed away, and his wife moved into a nursing home. I believe she was over 70. It used to be a grand mansion, but after the wife moved out and into a nursing home, it gradually fell into disrepair. So, despite efforts to sell it, no buyer was found, and the mansion was ultimately demolished. There might have been termite damage, and it seems they decided to try to sell just the land. Well, selling the land alone would still be considered a big win. The land was incredibly vast, enough to easily accommodate a factory we had planned to build. I bought the land promptly and constructed the new factory. The company became busier. Due to a shortage of staff, I thought we needed to increase our workforce. So, we decided to open positions for mid-career professionals and recent graduates. Soon after, applications started pouring in. I'm looking forward to working with you. It's a small company, but we've finally made it this far. If you have any questions, feel free to ask your coworkers or me. Thus, the company grew rapidly. The product my father had been developing started selling well. Every time we sold his dream product, I felt happy. Various contractors came and went at the factory. I became busier and more relied upon. I felt like I was starting to act a bit more like a CEO. One day, as I arrived at the company, my in-laws were there.
Oh, Lisa, you were lying about not making money, weren't you?
Well.
You're actually making enough to build such a big factory. How sly, focusing only on making money.
Right, you told our son. You weren't making much, but you're actually profitable, aren't you? That's why you can afford to build such a grand factory.
Well.
Hey, give us some money. We're getting old, struggling with our pension. Give us a little support.
That's.
What are you going to do with all that money anyway? You don't have parents anymore. Think of us as your real parents.
They were being selfish in their demands. Demanding money simply because they wanted it, but that was something I couldn't do. I intended to use the money I earned for my daughter's sake. She is very talented and wants to go to study at a university in Germany. I'm not very good at German, but I've been researching online for her sake. I think the tuition for universities in the US is high, but the fees for private universities in Germany are astronomically higher even compared to that. However, I believed that if I worked hard, I could manage to support her. That's why I've been working so hard, and I can't just give the money to my in-laws.
Why won't you give us some money? Are you just looking out for yourself?
No, that's not it. I want to spend it for my daughter's education, on Eliza's college tuition.
That doesn't matter. Since she's a girl, why not just let her finish with high school?
Exactly. Girls are fine, just finishing high school. Back in the day, they didn't even go to high school, did they? And now you're thinking of sending her to college.
Yes, she wants to go to college in Germany.
Don't make me laugh. What's a girl going to do at a Germany college? I've never heard of such a thing for women.
My Phil was laughing uproariously. I wondered if he had ever heard of Sandra Day O'Connor. Even a long time ago, there were women who pursued higher education, and now it's not rare or unusual at all. If you're good enough, you can go anywhere. I've been working hard for my daughter, so these comments irritated me. If they were so desperate for money, they should figure it out themselves. Both my Phil and Mill are 66, but at our company, we have folks who are even older and still actively working. The oldest one is 76, a whole decade older than them. Though he's older than my dad, this 76-year-old man, called Paul, joined our company mid-career.
All right, I'm coming in.
Wait, please.
Your company deals with platinum, right? Platinum isn't just for jewelry, you know.
Selling that would make a fortune. Now, where could it be?
Please stop. Don't come in. My in-laws were attempting to snoop around the factory for what they were after. However, at that moment, they were approached by a man with a scar on his face, looking quite intimidating, and they were visibly frightened.
Hey, what are you doing here? Strangers aren't welcome. This is my sanctuary, you hear?
Yikes, what's with this muscle monster?
Oh my gosh.
Who are you calling a muscle monster? Anyone can see I'm just a human being.
Stay away. Don't come any closer.
You run that way.
I heard you sneaking in to steal. Wait, I'm calling the police on you.
Ah, muscle monster.
Don't come any closer.
Who's a muscle monster? Can't you see these beautiful quads, side chest?
That commanding voice belonged to Paul, the experienced pro in his 70s I mentioned earlier. The reason my in-laws were so terrified is because even at his age, Paul is as muscular as a bodybuilder. Whether he wants to show off his muscles or he's just hot, I don't know, but he only wears pants for his work clothes. And always wears a tank top. It's always a very tight one at that. His arms were thick like game character, and his legs were swollen like those of a track cyclist. He always had his teeth whitened, which was somewhat eerie when they gleamed in the dim factory. He didn't look like someone in his 70s at all, and the scar on his face gave him an intimidating air. The scar came from an accident, but my in-laws probably thought he was a dangerous person. Paul isn't some gangster or anything, he just has a hobby of bodybuilding, so he looks tough, but that's all. Add to that, he usually speaks regular English, but every once in a while, he busts out with some dialect that was quite intimidating.
Move aside, you're in the way. That muscle monster is chasing us.
You're the one in the way.
We made it outside. Phew.
Let's escape.
But that was the moment. My in-laws started screaming.
Oh my God.
What's wrong? Oh.
Approaching them, I saw what had happened. Their heads and faces were covered in pigeon droppings.
Yuck, this is disgusting. It stinks.
Please, help me.
Yes, pigeons had made their home at the entrance of the factory. I don't know why they liked it there, but there were lots of pigeons. That's why I always enter through the back door, not this entrance. Just now, I went around to the back door to come in. I do it because I don't want to get caught or anything. My in-laws, unaware of this, were panicking because of the pigeon droppings. Their heads and faces, and even their shoulders, were white. Watching them with a cold gaze, I couldn't help but think how dirty they looked.
Hey, good job. Thanks a lot.
When Paul said that, a pigeon suddenly flew up. Then, after coos, it pooped on my in-laws again.
It stinks. Help. Do something.
Gosh, I can't see. My glasses.
That's what you get. Anyone who enters here without permission gets no mercy from the pigeons. You try to steal, and this is your punishment.
But still, this is ew.
Lisa, help me.
Yes, I called the police a while back, so they should be arriving to pick you up. Maybe they'll lend you some clothes. I don't know though. The police probably don't want to deal with you looking like that.
What? You called the police?
Yes, I called them on the down low while you two were making a scene.
What have you done? It's your fault for not giving us money.
I couldn't understand why I was being blamed. After hearing about my salary from my husband and then seeing our new factory, they probably thought we were raking in the dough. Then, they decided they had to get money from me by any means. But there was no way I was going to give in or forgive them. The police arrived quickly, but the officers grimaced at the sight of my in-laws, covered in pigeon droppings.
We don't want to be taken by the police. We didn't steal anything.
Right. We were the ones scared, threatened, even.
We didn't threaten you. You entered on your own and started shouting. He didn't say anything weird, right, Paul?
Right. Those fools were just making a fuss. Complete idiots.
No, don't handcuff me.
First, do something about our clothes.
My in-laws were taken away in the police car, looking filthy. I wonder if they'd be given some clothes later. I wasn't sure about the details, but I imagined the police wouldn't want them smelling during the interrogation. Well, I figured police officers wouldn't appreciate it if it smelled during interrogation, so they might do something about it. I thought to myself, how tough it must be for the cops to deal with such crazy situations.
My mom and dad got arrested because of you. They're being accused of attempted theft.
So what? You were worried about the salary, hoping to rely on the money, right?
Well, that's...
Got something to hide.
My parents lost money in an investment, So we were thinking of how to recover. Then you built that new factory, and it seemed like you were making good money. So they told me to steal from it.
Thank you very much. Incitement, right, I recorded that.
What, you little?
I'll be reporting this. And that's how my husband got taken in by the police as an accomplice. Even though it was just an attempt, I no longer wanted anything to do with such in-laws or a husband. I hoped they would spend the rest of their days in jail. I divorced him afterward. Rumors spread about my ex-husband, making him an outcast at work. But I really wanted him to work somehow, for the sake of our daughter's child support. My ex-husband complained about depression and other issues, but I was the one who felt like I might become depressed while we were married. He also made terrible remarks, so I demanded alimony. Such a person should not be married. And it means he was never qualified to be a parent in the first place. The attempted theft by my ex-in-laws became well known in the neighborhood. And it seems they were seen getting taken to the police, covered in pigeon dropping. What's more, they've been given a laughable nickname because of it. Surely those who witnessed it must have thought there were crazy guys causing a scene. I've already divorced my ex-husband, and now I live with my daughter. She focuses on studying German every day and is attending a German language school. Moving forward, I'll work hard for the growth of the company and to support my daughter's education. I hope to make a greater contribution to the world with the company my late father left behind.